What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dream Hoops back with another video for you guys. And based on the title of the video, you already know which basketball player I'm going to be discussing, and that is James Harden. Now, James Harden is one of the greatest offensive players of this generation, and in my opinion, one of the top 5 scorers of all time. Many scoring records were broken by him, and some of the records he set are unlikely to be broken for a long time. And until last year, James Harden had been averaging 33 points per game for the previous 4 years. That's literally absurd looking at that stat right now. However, he has set career lows in points per game and efficiency so far this season, averaging 17 points per game, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, while shooting a merely 36% from the field and 32% from 3, which is a disaster for James Harden's standard, especially since Kyrie Irving isn't playing and we don't know when he'll be back. So you'd think James Harden would score at least 25 to 30 points per game, but that's just not the case right now. So I decided to take it upon myself to make a video on what's going on with James Harden right now and if we should start worrying about his struggles on the court. But make sure you guys subscribe and like, and let's just get right into it. So before we get into James Harden, I think it's important to talk about the rule changes that the NBA implemented to kick off the season, because they do, in my opinion, play a role. So before the start of the NBA regular season, the NBA committee decided it was time for a rule change, which by the way I'm enjoying, as are many other fans, and that was to prevent foul baiting, or in other words, to prevent the offensive player from making unnatural moves to draw fouls on the defender. Or even better, listen to what they have to say. There will be an interpretive change in the officiating of overt, abrupt, or abnormal non-basketball moves by offensive players with the ball in an effort to draw fouls. So, for example, when Luka pump fakes and the defender jumps in to contest a shot and Luka jumps into the defender, it will now be called an offensive foul. Another example, when Devin Booker rises for a jump shot and kicks his leg out, that will be called an offensive foul. And finally, when Trae Young would hook his arm on the defender while attacking the basket and then flail his arms in the air as if the defender had fouled him. And the reason why I brought up these rule changes is because, to be honest, James Harden benefited greatly from these old rules. Let's take a look at this statistic. This is a chart of the all-time leaders in three-point shooting fouls drawn, and James Harden tops the list by a wide margin. So much so that he has a 272 point lead over the second place finisher. Another interesting fact is that James Harden, since he was drafted, has drawn more 3-point shooting fouls than any other NBA team. That is an absurd stat. And this was due to his infamous step back, in which he would take up to 3 or sometimes 5 steps to shoot a 3, and that would usually result in a 4-point play. Another move that James Harden abused was the play I showed you with Trae Young, in which he would hook a defender's arm while attacking the basket. This was extremely frustrating to watch, and it got to the point where defenders were guarding James Harden with 2 hands behind their backs. So finally, the NBA decided to put an end to this and implement new rules, which many fans think strictly because of the rule changes is why James Harden is struggling for the first 4 games. And I would say, because if you were watching the games, you would see it's more of him not being aggressive and him being too passive and missing open shots he usually makes. So let's look at some plays real quick. James Harden passes it to Kevin Durant on the high post. Kevin Durant gets double teamed. Patty Mills is open top of the key. Bruce Brown's man follows him, leaves James Harden wide open for 3, and James Harden shoots and bricks. On to the next play. Joe Harris has the ball top of the key, passes it to James Harden, and somehow Joe Harris, while he's cutting, gets 2 defenders to guard him, leaving James Harden wide open for 3, and he bricks it. Again, another open shot for James Harden, he just misses. Alright, so this is a clip from when they played the Charlotte Hornets. He gets a screen right from Nicholas Claxton, gets Gordon Hayward on his back, goes for a floater, and it's just short. So final play, James Harden brings the ball up the court, and in Charles Barkley's famous words, dribble, 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 tries to blow by, and then he does his usual foul baiting, not calling it this year, and then clanks it out on the rim. No, I'm not just cherry picking plays in the game. Looking at the shot chart for the last 2 games, he's just been settling for too many jumpers. And also, people will harp on his free throws attempts, and that is down currently, only averaging 3 free throw attempts per game. But last year on the Nets, he only averaged 7 free throw attempts a game and was still giving you roughly 25 points per game. What I believe the problem is with James Harden right now is that he's still playing like he did last year when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant were on the court, where he had to be more passive and more of a playmaker on the team. But now that Kyrie Irving is no longer on the court right now, James Harden must be more aggressive and try to be like how he was in Houston. But not to that same extent because Kevin Durant is still on the court. Furthermore, his confidence is not what it once was, as James Harden alluded to it in a press conference.
You look like you came into camp in great shape, but where do you feel you're at physically and confidence wise, even?
I'm just getting my confidence back. I'm a little hesitant. I hope you guys can see it.
So, to answer the question that brought you to this video, should we start worrying about James Harden? My answer is no. It's only been 4 games into the regular season, and James Harden is coming off his first major injury of his career, one that caused him to miss significant time during the regular season and 5 games in the postseason. So obviously he's going to look sluggish on the court, and he is a tad bit out of shape. Who am I kidding? He's fat, alright? I'll admit it, he's fat. But I believe James Harden is too talented of a player to allow rule changes to cause him to underperform to this extent. Is it a factor? I believe it is. He won't be able to score in the variety of ways that he did last time by manipulating the rules. But we'll see after 30 to 40 games, and if James Harden's stats are still down, maybe I was wrong about James Harden and these rules did work better than I expected. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Am I tripping? Am I not? Make sure you guys follow my Twitter at Dream Hoops. Subscribe, and your boy Dream Hoops is out, man. Peace.